Oh, it didn't run an advert. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We are a little bit different. Don't panic because we haven't paid for StreamYard yet. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to episode 1 of the Charlton Chronicles. As you can see, we are a little bit light tonight as we've got some holidays and some other bits. But as you can see, I am joined by the wonderful Paul and the wonderful Nick. Paul, I'll start with you. Lovely to have you back. How are you, mate? How's your summer been?
It's been great, actually. And we're obviously in podcast world. We've not seen each other since May, but in real life, of course, we did see each other after Dartford. There were shots involved, as you might expect. But yeah, I spent the first part of the break sort of obviously playing wall-to-wall Lindisfarne in honour of Macca and his goal that won us the playoff final. But in the last 48 hours, I've been spending time dusting off my dad's old Royal Naval outfit because whether anyone likes it or not, I'm going to enlist myself for HMS Pistol League because we're on the way, Emma. We're on the way. So I'm happy. I'm geared up for it. But great to be back. We
got a message here for you, Paul. He said you look 10 years younger. Looking great, mate.
Yeah, I've some money's changed hands with that. So thanks for that, CAFC fan. I appreciate that. I took the glasses off.
And our lovely OG is here. The lovely Mr. Hurst. How are you? How's your summer been?
Yeah, I'm okay. Summer's been great. Been away. So yeah, it's been a great summer. Did miss the football, however, so I'm glad that's back, and not long now until league football's back. So yeah, buzzing there.
And you had a bit of a trip of a lifetime. You went to Japan.
Yes, yeah, I went to Japan and South Korea. Bank account is looking very low at the moment, though.
Get the violins out.
But yeah.
That's my standard bank account, mate. Most weeks, to be fair, especially following this football club. Before we obviously tonight, guys, we are going to talk about the transfer incomings, which have obviously shocked us all. I think we've obviously been a bit surprised by the latest one. We'll talk about any transfers we think might go out. We'll probably go through the friendlies that have been played and what we're expecting for the season. I just want to obviously do a massive congratulations to the England Lionesses who've just won the European Championships back to back. I'm a very proud English woman right now. So really well done to the Lionesses. What an incredible achievement. But I do have a big Chronicles announcement, and it is a little bit of a sad one because I'm sad to announce that our lovely Mr. Wilcox is leaving us. So Josh is stepping away from the podcast to further his career. He will obviously still be behind us. He'll always be part of the Charlton Chronicles family. But as of today, I'm your official new Charlton Chronicles host with the most. But obviously, I will be assisted by these guys. We want to keep this podcast up and running, make it better and bigger than ever. Obviously, Tom might dip in tonight. I know he's been up in Canary Wharf watching the Lionesses. Tyler will still be with us. And obviously, with the addition of Sydney and Stephen this season, but they are in Thailand at the moment on holiday. So that is our team for this season. A big thank you to Josh, really, because the Chronicles wouldn't be here without him and his support. And obviously, a big thank you from me to Josh personally for putting the trust in me, and obviously Nick putting the trust in me as well, because this is obviously his podcast as well. For having me looking after it. I'll make sure that I do you guys proud and I do the best job that I can do. So, and obviously everyone who's watching and listening, we really appreciate your support as well. Please do keep supporting us this season. We will need you. So we will say good evening to a few people in the chat. Charlie's first in there. Just saying, very positive signings. Kelman, Apter and Kaminsky, the standouts. Fair play to owners. Long may it continue. So good evening to you, Charlie. I hope you're well. Sorry, this is CAFC Fan Hub. Morning, children. I don't know about me and you on that, Paul, but feels odd that feels odd that we're back in the Championship. Also, one question: where are these owners pulling money out there from? I'm not going to swear because it's way too early in the season for me to start swearing.
We've got two real billionaires, haven't we, Emma? I think.
Well, yeah, and then again, we have money, we have money, we have money, we have money. We do have money. And then we've got, George has just said, pretty sure we got around 10 million from getting to the championship, so they've just reinvested it. And I believe there's a lot of work going on around the ground as well, but Nick might be able to tell us some more about that. I believe there's some painting and stuff going on.
Yeah, maintenance stuff, making things look, I say, more professional, just a bit more tidy. So yeah, all the little things that make the football club better.
Good. Good evening to Jack. Good evening, my lovely, your fellow B Block wanker here, Paul. Oh look, it didn't take me long to swear, did it?
Say that
good
about
evening
Tracy.
to Tracy. Can't wait to see you all again. Here's an old friend, Charlton on tour. Evening all, great to be back after a long but well-deserved break. Apologies if I don't interact much. Oh dear. I hope you're well, mate. I hope you're not in too much pain. Sorry to hear that. Who we got? Ely is gone too long. I'm not going to start singing. Nick, you're good at karaoke. You can start singing. Ian, good evening. Nice to have a club that's up and mobile, up the addicts. I was really confused then. I was like, just talking about a mobile. Good evening to Keith. I hope you're well. Eve, good evening to Frankie. I hope you're well. Good evening to Isaac. He's been having Chronicles withdrawals. That's what we like to hear. Good evening to Ian and James. Lovely to see you on here. Good evening to David. Oh, this is so long. Why are there so many people? Good evening to Tom. I hope you're well. Ely has said, R.I.P. Joshua Wilcox. He's not dead. He's just pursuing other things. Good evening to Harry. I hope you're well. Good evening to Milan. It's really nice to see some old faces in here. Yep. Good evening to Chris. I hope you're well. Good evening to Lionel. I hope you're well. And good evening to Mac. And that is it. Obviously, we don't have an ad to run at the moment because we don't have a sponsor. But if anyone is watching that does fancy sponsoring the Chronicles this season, we are actively looking for a sponsor. If you'd like to or like more information, please don't hesitate to get in touch. You can drop the Charlton Chronicles a message. We are on X, we are on Instagram, and we are now on Facebook as well. Or you can personally drop me a message. I'm Emma CAFC page on Instagram. I'm not on X, and obviously I'm Emma Harknett on Facebook. But I do run the Instagram and Facebook page, so feel free to drop me a message on there. So we're going to start talking about what has been a really interesting transfer window, and I'd probably say quite a surprising one. So Paul, I'm going to come to you first. Obviously, our first signing, which was quite early on, really, in the transfer window, and it was kind of shortly after we lost Thierry. And I think it was announced early to soften the blow of probably losing Thierry. And it was a signing, in my opinion, I was quite happy with, which was Sonny Kerry from Blackpool. So what was your thoughts on the signing, and what are you looking, forward to seeing from Sonny?
Well, it seems so long ago. I think he was signed on the 6th of June, if I'd be right in saying. Lots happened since then. But yeah, I mean, he's young. He fits the profile, doesn't he? They want sort of young, hungry players who clearly have demonstrated their abilities, albeit in League One in Sonny's case. But he had a good second half of the season. He's described as a ball-carrying midfielder. So we'd expect some sort of energy from him. Obviously, his mate, we'll talk about in a minute, Rob Apter on the other side. So yeah, he looks. We've only seen him in flashes, of course, in pre-season, but yeah, really looking forward to it. Again, he's a young player. He's been given a long contract, and I think he's obviously very keen to be here, keen to make the step up. Obviously, he's not, I think, played at all in the champ, so it's always a bit of an unknown quantity, isn't it, to see whether someone can make that step up. But, I think early signs are he's got the ability, he's got the talent, he's got the energy. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, what you say about maybe announcing him soon after Thierry left us, there's probably something to that, I guess. A lot of people were very disappointed that Thierry went, but as I say, he had the cash flashed in front of him. He changed agents, which is always a bad sign for sort of the existing club. So off he's gone, and good luck to him. But so I think if it had just been Sonny, maybe a couple of others, I might not have been quite so enthusiastic. But as we'll go on to say, there are 7 others that have come in. So, but his was the first one of a long list, and good feeling about him. Hope he can make the step up.
Yeah, I mean, I speak to a few Blackpool fans, and the feedback I've had from them is that he's still very much learning his trade. There's definite quality there, but he needs a lot of guidance. He had a quite poor first half of the season, but really excelled in the second half of the season. So I think if he can carry on his form from towards the end of last season, I think he's going to be a cracking little player for us. Can I see him maybe being a starter? Probably not. But, I'd like to see what Nathan can do with him. And like you said, he's young and I have to support him because he's ginger. So we got a little ginger, which makes me happy. So we'll see. But welcome, Sonny, and we will see how he goes. So, Nick, I'm going to come to you because I know this will be one that you'll really want to talk about. And it's probably, after today's news, it's probably my favourite signing of the window in Thomas Kaminski. So, obviously, I had a chat with a Luton fan yesterday. I actually did a recording, and obviously I got a bit of feedback about the players. That video will be posted tomorrow, so I won't go too much into that. But he sounds pretty impressive from the chat that I had with, the guy from the Luton Town Supporters Trust. So obviously you're a big AMB fan. So firstly, what do you think of the Kaminski signing? And obviously, what are your expectations? And what do you think will happen with Big Willie and Ash?
Well, starting with Kaminski, bit of a shock signing, I think. I don't think there was much rumours around it at all. And I mean, when you think he played full season in the Prem, so you've got full season of Premier League experience, and despite the relegation, he played pretty well last year. Obviously, sometimes it doesn't matter how good a keeper is. If you're going to get facing 10 shots a game, they're going to start to go in, sort of thing. So it was a really good signing. The shock factor definitely helped as well. But it was maybe a little bit of a weird one. I know a lot of people did call for a new goalkeeper, etc. I think it was quite split, the fan base, in terms of, I think I was more on the side that I think Mannion deserved a shot in the champ. However, on the flip side, I can totally understand, the reason behind signing Kaminski. So very impressed. I'd probably agree with what you said. Apart from today, it probably was my standout signing, definitely. And I think we got him for some, good price tag as well. Take advantage of the fact that Luton probably want to get rid of him if he's on, I'd imagine, Premier League type wages still. So that probably helped. Moving on to the discussion about the other two, well, it's going to be interesting, very interesting. Firstly, a bit off topic, but I think Tommy Reed's looked okay in pre-season. I know he's covering Mannion, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was our number 3 this year. I definitely think that either one of Will and Ash probably will depart. Again, I can see reasons for both. I think you'd argue that Will's probably got the spot over Ash at the moment, and therefore he might want to leave more. You could also argue that Will or Ash might be more inclined to, sit on the bench than Mannion, especially after the back of an incredible season he had, especially at the back end of it, and was really important in the playoff final, the way he commanded his box. So it's a tough one. I can see sides to both potentially leave, but I think one of them will leave. I would be shocked if I see one of them sitting around as number 3. Obviously, Ash done it here before. However, he's 25 now or something, 26. So it's a bit different from when he was, just breaking through the academy at 21, 22. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens there. But I think it's been clear that Jones is one of the number 1 that isn't Will or Ash since last summer with the old Begovic saga and that sort of stuff. So very interesting to see how that plans out. Looked okay yesterday at Cambridge, didn't have to do much, didn't catch the game in Slovenia. So, with these new signings, I think as Paul said, you see flashes of them in pre-season, but you don't get the true picture until the league gets going. So I guess we'll just have to back Nathan Jones as we always do, based on training and stuff. So yeah, see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm up with you. I actually think Tommy Reid is a cracking little young keeper. And I think as much of a shame as it is with Ash, I think, like you said, he's not that young coming through keeper anymore. And I feel like he's probably had his chance and he just hasn't cemented it down enough. And it's a real shame because, he is one of our own and you always want them to do well, don't you? But it just doesn't seem like it's worked out.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate, what'd you say?
He's our longest serving player, so he's always, he seems like he's going to stick around forever. I think if he does leave, I think it'd be a bit of a shock. Well, not a shock in the sense of him going, but it'd be kind of like, kind of thought he was just going to stay forever at this rate.
But it's all right. We've got his twin. We've got Nick Maynard, so it's absolutely fine. So we'll move on to talking, and I'm actually really interested to hear from the people in the chat who they would have as the number one. So if you can drop just the name of the number one who you'd have in the chat, and I can read that out. It'd be interesting to gauge what everyone thinks or what you've seen in pre-season. So we'll move on to the next signing, which is actually one, again, that I was quite impressed with. I don't know how to pronounce his surname. I'm so sorry. It's Tanto Alafi. I don't know if that's right.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, Alafi. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I did actually get. I don't know if you remember last season. We had Russ from the Scarf Begora War podcast on, and I actually spoke to Russ about Tanto, and he did try to sell me a Tanto t-shirt, which I obviously didn't buy. But he gave me a little bit of feedback, and the feedback I got from Russ was he's fast, he plays off the shoulder, he's surprisingly strong for his size, also decent in the air. If you're playing against the high line, he'll run riot with the right ball. So I've only seen Tanto at Dartford. I was quite impressed. But Paul, I'm interested to know what maybe your thoughts on what you've seen of him so far, and do you think he's a good addition to our strike force?
Yeah, good addition. Didn't realise he was actually a Dartford boy, so he's kind of come home. But no, I mean I saw him at Wealdstone for a little while, and he's very sharp, he's very fast, he is strong, like Russ says. He's obviously got something about him. So yeah, I mean, I think he looks the part. Some players just step on the field, and it might only be a pre-season friendly against Dartford or Wealdstone, but they just show you can see they've got something about them, and he's proved it anyway last season. Obviously, there were the chances he didn't take in the actual second leg against Orient, but that aside, he had a really good season. He really came to the fore. And he looks very good. But again, as we've said, we've just seen him in snatches. I want to see him against Watford in the league, and just to see exactly what he's like. But again, I've got no fear about him sort of making the step up. I think he'll, to coin a cliche, hit the ground running, as I hope some of these other signings will, notably the one from today. And yeah, he looks exciting actually. So yeah, I think he's a really good player there.
Listen, and Nick, I'm going to come to you with the next two signings because they're both from our second team, Luton Athletic. So that is obviously Amari Bell, who I wasn't that thrilled by the signing, if I'm honest. I was like, I don't really get why we've signed him. And the other one, which I was really excited by, is obviously Reece Burke. And when I saw Reece at Dartford, I was incredibly impressed, to be honest. So, what's your thoughts on the two? Do you think they'll be starters on a regular, or can you just see them being back up? What's your thoughts? Are you with us?
Yeah, I think I'm here. I think I'm back now. You lot were spinning in circles for ages.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you hear the question?
No, not at all.
No. So the next two players, Amari Bell and Reece Burke, obviously the Luton connection, both defenders. I was probably a bit underwhelmed with Amari Bell signing, but I was really thrilled by the signing of Reece Burke. So, what's your thoughts on the two? Can you see them being starters? Can you see them being backups? What's your thoughts?
I think off the back, I think I see them being backups. I think Reece Burke's probably more likely to start. But I mean, as backups, they're two very good level backups, and they'll be very competitive centre backs this year. Whereas last year, I felt we were very reliant on Jones and Maka and Ramsey. I felt if one of those got injured, we were kind of a bit, a bit worried. But I think now, if one of them was to get injured or suspended or whatever, I'd feel quite confident with those coming in for a game or two. And I mean, hopefully, there's anything you hope that they push on and take the spot themselves. And I think Jones said the other day he doesn't want any passengers. He wants everyone competing for spots. And I think that's exactly what they'll do.
Yeah, I could probably see maybe Burke being more of a starter than Bell for me, if I'm honest. But I think, like you said, defensively we are really, really strong. But obviously it's a long season, isn't it? So it's really good to have the backup. So, Paul, I'm going to come to you with the next one because I don't really know a great deal about him. So I'm hoping you might be able to give me a bit more info. Joe Ranking-Costello.
JRC, as I christened him.
Yeah, he came in from Blackburn, so I don't really know a lot about him as a player. I don't kind of know his position sort of wise, so I'm looking for a bit of assistance from you here. Really.
Well, that's a good question about position wise, Emma, because I mean he's classed as a right back, but actually, I was obviously reading what one of the local press up in Blackburn said to Richard Corley, one of his Substate articles, that actually he's probably more of a midfield player. He's one of those utility players. He's played pretty much every single position apart from keeper. But I think the consensus seems to be that he's probably more better as a midfielder. He's came through, I think, Blackburn's academy. I think I'm right in saying he played over 100 games for them. He's been sort of in and out the side, particularly more recently. But yeah, again, another young player. I think it was his birthday yesterday. Actually, I think he just turned 26. So belated happy birthday, Joe. But yeah, he's someone who's had plenty of championship experience. So again, I think he can only help us. Again, it's only pre-season, but him and certainly Apter seem to have quite a good understanding down the right hand side against Wilson in the second half. So I mean, again, he seems to have slotted in. If you indulge me, I'll just go back to talking about Reece Burke. Reece came on. He was the boss man at Dartford. When he came on, he really had a good presence, didn't he? Problem is he got injured. And Nathan started talking about him a bit like Chooks. He said, if Reece, we're lucky to have Reece because I think he basically said if he didn't have an injury history, he wouldn't be with us. He'd be at another championship club. So that kind of worried me. But yeah, he looked great. But yeah, Joe again has slotted in. Looks to have slotted in very well. It's going to add competition. I was looking again at my go-to FOTMob, like I said, what passed through research. I think we've got 32 in our squad now. So it's great for competition, but like we said about the keepers, we're going to have to probably trim it down. But certainly, I don't think Joe will be involved in any sort of cuts. I mean, he'll be up there either starting or as a backup. We had our sort of three, didn't we? Stalwarts last season, obviously in Connor, Doc, sort of Bez mainly with a bit of Gilbert and a bit of Karoy. But I'd expect Joe, if not taking the third spot, certainly being a backup. I don't know, having come from the Championship, whether he'd want to be a backup, having lost his place in the Blackburn side latterly. So he'll certainly be up for the challenge. He looks, again, as another player, looks the part, good touch, good energy. Again, a young guy, fits the profile that they want, and put him on a good long contract. And unlike others that we might mention later on on long contracts, who perhaps haven't justified them, he looks like he certainly will, along with a number of these other signings that we've made. So he looks good.
Yeah, I'm interested to see more of him. I've obviously only shockingly done one of the friendlies so far. I'm not going on Tuesday, but I will be off to Southend. I'm only going for a few of them, really.
So will I.
I'm sure we'll meet up for Tequila Rose at some
point.
We
will. I'm sure we will.
Nick, I'm going to come to you next about a signing that I'm actually really excited by. And it just came out of the blue, to be honest. I was quite shocked. Obviously, Rob Apter signed from Blackpool, which I think was a bit of a surprise. I don't think it was one that anyone expected to come in. And Rob, naturally, obviously, he's a winger. He's a wide player. But I understand from some of the friendlies, obviously, I've not seen him play yet personally, but that he's been playing at wing-back. Now, when I kind of asked my Blackpool friends about that, I was like, he's not really he's not really a defender. He is a winger, and he's not going to be able to defend that well. But I am excited to see him and see what he can do. So, what's your thoughts? Do you think it's a really good addition?
My initial thoughts were actually of concern with the money we've paid for him to not even kind of fit into our system worries me. With the wing back thing, I mean, going forward, he looks quite good, quite nippy. I would say he's extremely left-footed from what I've seen, especially at Cambridge yesterday. Extremely left-footed, but nice touch, decent ball in, and he's, like I say, he's quite nippy. However, he looks very lightweight, and if we're going to be deploying him at wing back, it does concern me, especially in the Championship. Against the sort of, if he's coming up against the likes of, if we look at our squad, Lieber and Alafi, I could see him struggling quite a lot. So yeah, I think as a winger, looks quite good, but we paid a lot of money for him and don't really have a slot, I'd say is the word, for him at the moment. I guess it's similar to TC, really, isn't it? Last pre-season, being that winger, but we don't play wingers. It's either wing back or striker. So I can't see Apter going striker, especially after today. So it's going to be a one I keep an eye on. But my initial thoughts are concern rather than excitement. I'd say I think more down to the price tag than anything, really.
Yeah, and I think, like you say about him being lightweight, it's really interesting because I think TC is a bit lightweight as well. I'm sorry, Tom, because I know you're in the chat and you're probably going to kill me because I know you love your boy. But I still think he's a bit too lightweight and he does go down a bit easy for me. And he won't get stuck in. And do you think that's something that Apter is going to struggle with?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think. And I just think with it being, a league above as well this year, you got to add that into it as well. I don't believe he's played the Championship before. Not someone I was familiar with the name wise. So yeah, that does worry me.
Yeah, I mean the feedback I had from the Blackpool guys was they don't think he's ready for the step up to the Championship, and that he's probably more of an investment for the future.
Yeah,
that was the feedback.
Get bulked up. To kind of convert into that wing back, which is fine. And that might be the reason why I paid a lot for him for that investment, which, if at the end of the day that's what it is, then fantastic.
Yeah, I think we'll go back to the goalkeeper and see what everyone's kind of put about. So I won't put them on the screen, but CAFC Fan Hub has said Kaminski, we need the experience. Charlton on Tour said he would love Mannion, but Kaminski's got experience in higher levels. Kiefer said Kaminski. Frankie has said Kaminski. Chris has gone off topic and said Amari Bell looks good. Tom is celebrating that England have won the Euros. And we're not going to... CAFC Fan Hub wants to know our thoughts on Alfie Doughty going to Millwall. Alfie is a Millwall fan, so it's no surprise that he's doing that, would be my answer to that. I don't know about you guys, but...
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that, but I've been on social media for a few hours. But if he's going, yeah, you're right, he's a fan. Good luck to him. As I say, he'll get plenty of shit when he comes to the Valley and when we go there, so that's fine. But it's all good. And but just to mention Apter played, I mean, you saw it, Nick, Apter played in a more advanced position at Wealdstone on the right. He was pretty much a winger. And you're right, he's a bit lightweight, but he put it about a bit. I mean, he was having a couple of to-dos with some of the Wealdstone defenders. He looked quite spiky, which I like. He's a small guy, but he's pretty compact. And I'd agree, he's probably that sort of wild card you bring on when you need a goal or something created late in the game or whatever. I don't think he's a starter. But again, I agree with the points that you made about him being an investment for the future. I think give him this season maybe the odd substitute appearance or perhaps later in the season, and then hopefully next year, providing we stay up, hopefully then he can sort of come on. But he looks exciting. But you're right, Nick, with the price tag, that's quite a hefty price tag for that. But I'm heartened the fact that he was League Two Player of the Year, wasn't he, a couple of years ago? I know it's two leagues below, but it showed he's got some ability, and he looks like the plays. He's quite confident. I think he's a bit of a proper scally with respect to him, a proper scouser. He's no shrinking violet, put it that way. So I think someone with that sort of confidence and that sort of bullishness, will I'm sure he'll do well. But you're right. There's no point putting pressure on him. No point starting him because he isn't ready. But I hope he'll be ready in the fullness of time in the not too distant future.
On that point, I think he could be a fantastic super sub. And we know Jones sometimes does like to go sort of that front three. When we're drawing or losing, he likes to have that front three change to a back four. And we get two wingers and a striker on. So in that scenario, I think he fits perfectly, especially against tired legs. I can see him being very dangerous. Maybe that'll be his role for this year. And like we're saying, maybe next year he'll start to maybe transition to wing back. We'll see. Yeah.
Obviously, you two have both seen him play. What's his sort of crossing ability like?
I didn't see much. I saw him cutting in, and he had a shot, which the keeper was able to parry. But yeah, I mean, there wasn't much I don't think in the way of crossing. He was building up quite a good understanding, as I mentioned before, with the Ranking-Costello, and he was just getting stuck in. He was basically getting, sort of paint on his boots, as I say, because he was right tight to the touchline. So he was having a ding dong with a couple of the Wilston defenders, and as I say, he could look after himself.
Typical Scouser, that is, isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, we don't want to start bringing the stereotypes, do we? I didn't see any cars on bricks outside the ground, but no, sorry, Rob. But no, he looks a real prospect actually, and as I say, because he's got that, that self confidence, you can see him doing it. Whereas if you think about someone like Charlie Kirk, who came in with a big reputation, and he seemed to shrink. He never seemed to get to grips with the whole, the big club sort of thing. And he come to sort of Charlton from Crewe, and it just didn't work for the guy. But whereas Rob's come in, it's like, yeah, come on, it's good that he's got Sonny as his mate. They're clearly in cahoots, and it's nice that he's actually not come down. He's not going to be on his own. I can see them two being sort of a terrible twosome as time goes on, getting in a bit of trouble. But no, it's good. I think he's got a great attitude. I can see he's like really spiky, and he doesn't suffer fools gladly. So I look forward to seeing him put stuff into action, perhaps later in the season. Good to see him. Exciting prospect.
Yeah, and finally, we'll move on to obviously what we woke up to today, which was incredible news. And I think, again, it came a bit out of the blue, which was the incredible signing of Charlie Kelman. And it was, it's a player that I genuinely didn't think we'd ever get. And I thought it was a player that would have a lot more interest than obviously what he has. I'm actually going to come to both of you because obviously this is our biggest signing. This is our biggest monetary signing from rumoured figures of 3.5 rising to 5 million with add-ons. So Nick, I'm going to come to you first. One, how excited are you by Charlie Kelman? And do you think we've overpaid? Do you think it's the right fee? Is he going to repay what we've paid for him?
Well, I'll start on the fee side of things. I think it was a good old Fabrizio Romano reporting up on us, which was a nice.
We're in the big time now.
I think he was one of the I think it was 3.5, and then maybe rising to 5 million with add-ons. I think that would make him our biggest fee. I think if that, God knows what the add-ons are. Probably you start with goal bonuses, etc. The fee's an interesting one. 3.5 million. If we just look at that one for now. He's 23. That's going to add some value already, being young.
Yep.
I'm not sure what the contract situation was at QPR. I think he might have only had a year left, I think.
Yes, that's right. He wouldn't extend.
Yeah, so could maybe say that brings his value down a bit, but I think the fact that he, top scored the League 1, did it at Leyton Orient, so he didn't do it at one of the, the big. I know they got the 6th place in the playoffs, but he didn't do it at Birmingham or Wrexham or us. He top scored the league from fairly relatively. I can't imagine many Orient fans would have been thinking they'd get playoffs this year. So to do it at a small, I don't want to say smaller club because you know what they're like, they'll be leeching on me. But yeah, to do it at a smaller club is
You're saying, mate, but carry on. No, go on.
even better achievement. I think maybe paid a little bit too much. Gut feeling. I'm thinking, if it was 2.5 million, I think that's fair enough. But look, if he's going to score goals, and if we keep him for a long time, 4-year contract, I think it was as well, then I think we could look back at this in a long time and think, wow, bloody hell. I know if you use the old Bond story as well, it's only really 1.5 million, then, isn't it? Because they took Bond off us for 2 million, so
Yeah.
that made me laugh. But yeah, no, I think it could be one. Time will tell on the fee. However, looking now at himself, I think Godden will probably play a lot less this year, an extra year, and a level up. And we've seen Kelman's interview about he based his game off Godden. I can't tell that even without him saying that. So I think in that case, if Jones, he clearly likes the Godden striker mould type, we call it, small, knows where the goal is, a great player to sort of pair with a nice big striker, then I think if Jones is here for the long run, then Kelman's a perfect signing for him. Someone who's young, similar to Godden, and fingers crossed has a similar goal return. So it's by far the best signing of the window. But I think I agree with you, Emma. I don't think I actually ever believed we'd kind of get him. I think I started to believe after we started, spending money. But being a Charlton fan, you can't never expect to really be in those, lucrative players. Especially, well, I know we've got Alfie May, but he had local ties, so you kind of put that down to that. But yeah, to get Kelman, who was, being rumoured moving to America, which I'm surprised he didn't. I'm surprised he would have. Personally, I think he would have gone to America to try and get in the World Cup squad. But hey ho, lucky for us, he's staying in London, and yeah, just very, very excited for him.
And he's moving to the better side of London as well. Sorry, Orient fans. Paul, so my obviously we've been through all the transfer activity there. We will go through the new contract signings as well. But obviously, so we've signed Tanto. Obviously, we've got Charlie, we've got Godders, we've got Leeburn. We'll throw Dan Carnu, Mika, and Bick in there as well. So obviously, I could probably see the two latter ones going out on loan. But what strike force would you see this season for Charlton? Who do you think is going to be our front two? And obviously, if you throw Tyrese Campbell in there as well.
I know. Oh, well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's a great headache to have now. All those years where we were scrabbling in the bargain bin. I
forgot about Gas. Sorry, Gas as well. But he's off to Bolton. So.
Are we sure? Is that definite? I know that the word on the street was he was going to Bolton, but I don't know if that's definite. But I mean, because he's sitting on a 3-year deal. But I mean, there's no point in just kicking his heels and taking the money. He needs to go and kickstart his career. All these signings that have come in are just going to put him further down the queue. So, but to go back to your question, Emma, I suppose, given what Nick said about little man, big man, you can almost imagine, Godders and hopefully Miles. But then again, we paid this money for Charlie. Would it be Charlie and Miles or TC? Or could it be two little men? I mean, I could see both him and the sniffer dog and the sniffer pup, as I think someone christened him, actually causing havoc. They played different channels, played crossover. Having two little lads. I mean, it's patronising to say the two little lads. They're very fast and they're very effective and they're both very strong. So my preference, I would be to have both of them actually, sort of sorcerer and apprentice, playing together. That would be my thing. But again, where would you fit TC? I suppose out on the left, he'd be properly sort of a winger or even a wing back. But yeah, I think that's But again, you got Tanto, and you're like, well, Tanto needs to play as well. How are we going to do this? Someone's going to lose out. I think, as we've said, the squad's rather large, so I think certainly Dan and Mika need to go out on loan. Dan's certainly not ready. He played, put himself about against Wilston, scored a pen. I just don't. The site test says that Dan's not quite ready for the Championship. Mika looks a really exciting prospect, but you're not going to throw an 18-year-old in the championship on the regular. I think, even off the bench, I think they both need to get games in League One. But I'm going around your question, Emma. I'd like, Goddard and certainly, I think Charlie. I'd like to see them start, but there's obviously lots of reasons why others could come in as well. Miles, TC. It's just Tanto. I mean, they all need to start, really, don't they? But some of them are going to have to go on the bench. So it's going to be I don't envy Nathan, but I'm sure he'd rather have the choice to make than scrabble around trying to find one or two decent forwards. He's got some really good quality players now. He wanted a squad. The owners have gone out and got him a squad. So now he needs to make the right decisions with Curtis and the rest of the backroom staff, really. But really exciting times, and I'm really, really, really looking forward to. But I wouldn't want to be in Nathan's shoes, because again, you're now having to keep people happy, which maybe he didn't need to do so much last year. So that brings, again, man management comes into it. So it's going to be quite a task for him, let alone tactically and worrying about sort of winning on a Saturday or a Tuesday or a Friday or whenever it is we have the games. So but no. So to answer your question, I've gone around the houses, but certainly Goddard and Charlie would be my two up top.
Yeah, I like that. That's interesting for me, and I think you're right. It is whether he wants. I mean, let's be honest. The Championship is a different kettle of fish, really, isn't it? It's a lot tougher. Defenders are going to be a lot more experienced, probably a little bit tougher and stronger up there. We'll just have to see how it pans out. Jones is not stupid. He knows what he's doing, and I guess we'll have to put. I didn't say that in October or November last year, but I might have slightly changed my mind when we got promoted. So. Obviously, our next rumoured signing is one I'm incredibly excited by.
Yes.
I believe we've had, from the rumours that I've heard, is that we've had a bid accepted for Harvey Knibbs from Reading.
Love it.
But Wrexham have also had a bid accepted for Harvey Knibbs. So I've heard he might have been at Sparrows Lane. So let's see what will happen. But Nick, is that someone who you'd really be interested in getting into the football club?
I think definitely. I think for me, I'm not a person who's big on outside Charlton kind of football, especially like the outside the Premier League. So if I recognise a player's name, it's either they're really good or they're kind of really, really bad. So the fact that Harvey Knibbs is on my radar kind of says to me straight away that that'd be a great signing. I do think midfield is somewhere we kind of need to improve on going into the Championship. I think I echo, I think it was Paul's thoughts about Sonny Kerry, or might have been you, Emma, about I don't know if he's quite ready for the start, starting in the midfield three. Luke Berry could be question marks over his fitness this year. Fitness wasn't, at its peak last season, and obviously Championship's going to take another toll. So, and then, Coventry's, pretty nailed on. Doc might maybe, again, I don't know if he ready for the step up. It'd be kind of wait and see, I guess. So I think midfield is definitely an area where we could improve. I think Harvey Knibbs would be a fantastic addition.
Yeah, I think for me, look, if I look at the midfield, I'll kind of reiterate what you said. Like, I've become a bit of a kind of Coventry fan now. I've upgraded him. He's a posh packet of rice now. He is nailed on, and he's probably the only one in that midfield three that is guaranteed for me.
Yeah, I think
I'm not a massive Doc fan. I don't think maybe he brings enough to make that step up to the Championship. Is he captain as well? I'd probably say no. I think the captaincy would be looking at maybe shifting somewhere else. And I mean, everyone knows my thoughts on Luke Berry. I think he's very past his best. And so I'd be looking. I've always said, I think even last season, I think that Berry makes a better impact from the bench, like we saw at Barnsley away. I think he's a better impact player from the bench, and I'd like to see some fresh, young, energetic legs in there. And if we can pull off Knibbs, I think it's an absolutely incredible signing. And you know, I think it would be the perfect signing, to be honest. I've been desperate. If we couldn't have got Davis Keller done from Barnsley, then Knibbs probably would have been my next best choice for sort of that number 10 attacking mid role. So yeah, I'm hoping we're going to get some good news early in the week, and he's chosen us over them Welsh Wallies. Let's hope, because they're signing Christian Eriksen, I think. So
are they?
What they're rumoured with? I think he might have rejected it though. I think.
What, Christian Eriksen?
Yeah, I think I saw he rejected their offer.
Yeah, no one wants to go and live in Wales. Let's be honest, do they? So.
Well, I think that's part of it, though. I mean, Harvey Knibbs he's spent his time. I think he's a Bristol lad. He spent time at Cambridge, and then obviously Reading. So it's quite an upheaval, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't matter how much longer they're paying you. It is an upheaval. So as I say, again, I'd really like to think that we could probably match them financially, but even if we didn't quite get there, I think the fact that you wouldn't probably have to move that much too far or whatever would help. And again, age-wise, he's about 25, 26. So again, ideal opportunity. And he's always done well against us, which I know isn't always a good indicator, is it? Because I know we've had players that have done well against us. We buy them and they've been absolute crap. But I think, he's been part of that really great Reading team. What Reading did last season was just nothing short of incredible. We've said this on the pod already before last season. And he was a major part of that. I mean, their backs were against the wall as a club, but they got rid of they just focused on the games, and they were just so unlucky just to miss out on the playoffs. So he was part of that effort, and as I say, he would be really exciting and another exciting signing. We don't say that. How many times have we said that in our season? Oh, we've got another exciting signing. It's like, what?
There you go, Paul. He said he's 24, just like you.
Yeah, no, he's actually 26. I'm looking at Wikipedia. I'm cheating, but no. He's. I mean, again, I think his birthday's April '99. Just for the pedants among you like me. But no, again, he would be really, really, really exciting and hot on the heels of Charlie Kelman. I mean, I don't know what we'd all do. We're like, what club are we supporting now? What is this ownership? Is it? I mean, we're so used to things going pear shaped, and it's like something's going to happen. The club's going to go bust or something. We're going to have some great big tax bill that we can't.
FFP.
But, yeah, exactly. But there is that, of course, to think about in the future. But no, I mean, it's just happy days, really. So yeah, if we can get in this week, that'll be a really excellent signing. And again, just as you say, Emma, just increased competition in the midfield. Doc's played in the Champ, but as I say, he took a while to get going last year in League One. You're right in terms of captain material. I'm not sure really. He's a good, solid citizen. I think his place probably will be in peril. So whether Lloyd or someone else gets it, is open to conjecture. But yeah, no, I think that you're right. The jury's out on Doc for sure. But Harvey Knibbs, happy days. God.
Yeah, Keith's put upgrade Coventry from Uncle Ben's to Tilda.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's almost like a quinoa. He's very nearly a quinoa. So that is our transfer window chat done. But obviously we had some new contract signings this season as well. Obviously Mika and Bick signed a new contract, which is fantastic for the future. The lad's got, I think of him as a young Chuck Saniki hopefully without the injuries. He's got the stature, he's got the power. I think if he can get the right loan move, I think he's going to be a fantastic one for the future. One that I wasn't so impressed with was offering Miles Leaburn a new 3-year contract. I was, needless to say, a little bit disappointed by that. I don't think he's really earned that contract. I think off his performances last season, I don't think it warranted it. This is just my opinions. I'll gather your thoughts in a second. And then probably one of my standout players from last year, Macaulay Gillespie. I think what a funny bipolar season he had. I remember seeing him at Blackpool away, and he made such a balls up, and his form since then, the way that he just turned his season around and become the playoff hero, utterly deserved. And I really hope it continues for Macca and he continues to cement his place in this team, because if he can carry on last season's form, he's going to be unbelievable for us again this year. So, Nick, I'll come to you first. What's your thoughts on those contract extensions?
We'll start in Bick. Similar to, I think I echo exactly everything you said, especially about the Chucks thing. I agree. I can see that. And yeah, I mean, he's shown his potential. You know, he had the little FA Cup cameos where he got a goal. You know, he's had his Wembley cameo as well. You know, he's been in and around the first team for about a year now. And hopefully Chucks has sort of rubbed off on him as well. Hopefully he's, you know, taught him some stuff. And yeah, 3-year contract for him. Happy days, no complaints. Moving on to Miles, I think for me with Miles, I think contract extension for me, I think was a good thing. However, I think 3 years might have been too many. The only reason I say that is mainly the injury record. When he's firing, he's a fantastic player. However, he's quite hard to keep fit. And every time he seems to go on a good run of scoring goals, he seems to pick something up. And it seems to always start off with something small, ends up turning into something big. So, yeah, the contract for me is not a problem. It's just, I think the length is it's a risk. And with the ownership, I back them in that they've, you know, he's maybe, I do think the medical side of the club has definitely improved over the last year, 100%. I think that's without a doubt, considering before we'd have, you know, double-figure injuries consistently to last year. You know, I personally think last year, the fact we didn't get injuries was, you know, the key reason we actually got promoted in the end. Especially it's, you know, sort of the centre-back roles, which I mentioned earlier about, you know, that lack of depth last season. So, you know, I hope with Miles it works out, because like I say, when he you know, when he's fit and firing, he's a great asset, even off the bench. You know, his stature, good with his feet. And he's got a good finish in him, so we can keep him fit. Happy days. And then moving on to Maka, I mean, he's an absolute goat. Yeah, give him a lifetime contract for all I care. Yeah,
I like
said, really.
I like it. He is the goat. I think you should sponsor him next season, Nick.
Yeah.
or Kaheem, him or Kaheem.
Oh,
it's award.
Yeah, love that. Love that. He's the right character. He's becoming the right character, isn't he? Really, yeah.
Kaheem's going to have to go out on loan, isn't he? Realistically, but I don't want him to, because then are we still going to get Kaheem content? It's a tough decision.
His videos just make my life. He is just. I wanted to be in Slovenia with him, just for the laughs, because he just had me crying with laughter. He's so funny. Paul, what's your thoughts on them? And I'll kind of go back to the Lee Burns scenario. I think, obviously, with the departure of Tracy Lee Burn, obviously, just on this podcast, thank Tracy for all her hard work with the club, and obviously the 10 years commitment that she's given to the club, and everything she's done to raise awareness for prostate cancer. Which is amazing, and I obviously wish her the best of luck, and I'm sure, you know, everyone on Team Chronicles wishes her the best of luck for the future. But I can actually see with the departure of Tracy, maybe Miles stepping it up a bit, because he's not going to kind of have his mum at his place of work. I know it sounds a strange thing, but I'm thinking, right, maybe he feels that his mum's always watching him, and that, you know, he's watching his behaviours, and she's kind of always on his back. I'm hopeful to see him step up, because my issue with him has maybe sometimes been his attitude and his work rate. And that for me has always been my problems with him. So do you think, obviously maybe the departure of his mum from the club, and not maybe having that pressure of the family within the club, could you see maybe making a difference to him?
Yeah, I must say that sort of struck me, Emma, actually. Just to mention, actually, about, you know, Tracy. I know Rich Corley was saying, you know, obviously, thank you, Tracy, in one of his columns or whatever. And he was saying he interviewed Miles once, and she asked if she could sit there. She said, I'm not being a pushy mum. And I thought there was a but there. But I think it's you know, fair comment. I think I did wonder whether, you know, when she steps away, because obviously she was there on a match day, she was by the tunnel and all the rest of it. So I hope he can. In terms of injuries, sorry, Nick, to go back to your point about injuries, I think the Will Abbott effect is real. The senior management sometimes do their YouTube things, don't they, periodically? And Jim Rodwell was sitting in front of the injury board at Sparrows Lane. It was empty. There was like no one on it. So that sort of showed you how it was.
Well, not even Chuck's.
I don't think
He wasn't
actually.
injured towards the end of the season. To
He
be
wasn't.
fair, he was pretty.
He wasn't.
Pretty fit.
It was literally an empty board. I think it was referred to at one point, but yeah, I think Miles. I think part of me said they gave him a bigger contract because at least they'll get value for him if he's sold. But clearly, if he's going to be injured, there's no way he's going to get sold. So I think it's in his own interest to obviously keep his fitness, but do the best he can. I thought at Wealdstone, he led the line well. He certainly seemed interested. So that seemed to me a really good sign. I mean, I do think, Emma, I'm probably less critical than you are. I can understand your reasons. I think he's, when fit, when on task, he's a great player, as we've seen. He scores some great goals. He's got. I'm not going to go into the cliche that he's got good feet for a big man, but he has got good feet for a big man. He's very, very good. He's no Peter Crouch, so I can see him doing. Hopefully, if he stays fit, I can see him doing well, and hopefully justifying his contract. But we'll soon see if that works out. But the other two players you mentioned, Mika, I know word at Sparrows Lane was like, you had season pro saying, bloody hell, what is that? Look at, obviously in awe of his ability. So when season pros say that about an 18-year-old kid, then that bodes well. But yeah, again, I mean, he needs to play. He needs to play regularly. So yeah, absolutely. Glad he signed the contract. Hopefully we can keep him, one of those academy players that stays with us for a very long time. Maka, yeah, as Nick says, absolute mensch. He came back from that Blackpool mistake. He came back really strong, and it was fitting. I think that he scored the winner in the playoff final. I spent much of, as I say, the first few weeks of the break, playing Waterwall, Lindisfarne. There's a particular track called Run for Home, which probably most of your viewers and listeners won't have heard because they're far too young. But it's really appropriate sort of lyrics, really, for how he's actually, come back from adversity. And I might even get Josh to play a few bars on the outro of the Spotify version. But no, he's played really well, really justified his new contract. Again, as we said earlier on, with these new signings, seeing how Brees Burke, and Amari Bell, hopefully keep fit. They certainly Reece may provide some sort of competition in central defence. But certainly, Maka, I'm sure, has got the goodwill of probably most, if not all, Charlton fans after what happened in the second half of last season, or certainly post Blackpool, and particularly on the lead up to the playoff final. He's done really well. He's justified his contract. He's a really good fella, really good lad. The Geordie Goal King, as I christened him, and those goals he chips in with were important as well. Let's not forget them. And yeah, just again, hope he can play regularly. Be good to see him. Good to see him back.
Yeah. And finally, before we go, one last question for you both. Rating our transfer window so far. I don't think it's finished, but give me a mark from, obviously 1 is poor and then 10 is top. Nick, what would you give the transfer window so far?
I think I would honestly give it 10. I think how it's planned out compared to expectations, certainly a 10. I don't think any of us could have ever dreamed of this much investment. Obviously, we knew investment would come, but not this much. And if we add Knibbs to that, then it's incredible.
Yeah, and Paul?
No, I'm going to do a spinal tap, Emma. I'm turning it right up to 11. That'll be, particularly with Knibbs, actually, even without Knibbs, I think we've done incredibly well. It's like 2011 vibes. We bought quite a few more players than we have then, and obviously we won the League One title with a record number of points. Not saying we're going to do the same, but it'd be nice to think that at the very least we can consolidate in sort of mid-table and maybe push even higher. Or maybe I'm just going completely. I am sober at the moment, actually, to be fair. But no, I mean, I think we've bought some really good quality in. Some of it, as we said, is for the future. Some of it, hopefully, will help us straight away. Kelman, hopefully Knibbs can slot in. But yeah, it's really good times. Really, it's the most positive I've felt for quite a long time. So even, you know, after 2019, because, you know, we went up, of course, but, you know, I think we were always going to be, you know, possibly hanging on. We had a good start of the season, didn't we? And we lost Conor Gallagher and it all went a bit pear. So, but I mean, we never had the sort of the degree of the depth of squad and quality of squad then that we've got now. So, as I say, the manager wanted a squad, he wanted quality. The owners have given him it. So hopefully he can deploy it in the best way and we can, you know, we can go onwards and upwards.
Yeah, I'm going for a 9, and if we get Knibbs, it's going to go to a 10. So I'm very happy so far, and it's more than what I ever thought we would have got. I thought we'd just end up with like another Alan Campbell, if I was completely honest. But he's going to Oxford apparently. Good luck, Oxford. You're going to need it.
Good God.
Right, just before we go, I just want to say at 12 o'clock tomorrow, there will be a video released on our channels, which is I basically caught up with Mark Chapman from the Luton Town Supporters Trust yesterday. We had a little chat and he's given some really great info about the signings we've made from them. And we had a little bit of a laugh about Nathan Jones as well. So go give that a watch. It'll be uploaded at 12 o'clock tomorrow. It's about 20 minutes long, but go give that a watch. He's got some great info about some of the signings. I'm not sure when our next show is going to be. Probably the Wednesday before the Watford game, which will be, is that 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th of August, I'm guessing. Yeah. That will probably be our next show, which will obviously be our preview show for the first game. Really good to see not see you guys tonight because I can't see you, you're just in the chat, but really good to connect with you guys again tonight. Hopefully you'll keep following us throughout the season. No, it's not next Saturday. Someone's put that is Southend next Saturday. Nick, when are the tickets coming out for that?
You can put them on Southend website.
It's on their website.
Can you? What, the away ones?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's in that little corner. It's on that little corner, right-hand corner in the north stand. So yeah.
Ah, there we go.
Most of the time, all friendlies are on the home website. It was only Cambridge where they did the testing the new seat thing.
Oh, okay. There you go. So if anyone wants to go to Southend, head over to Southend's website. You can buy the tickets there.
Same with the Ipswich game. That's on Colchester's one.
Yes, so there we go. And if you are going to Ipswich or Colchester, you can do that from there. So thank you guys for watching tonight. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to Nick and thank you to Paul. And we will see you all soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.
Thanks all. Bye.